Imagine a world where this is all that exists. Now, in this mini-world, how many objects are there? You might say, that's easy. 1, 2, 3. But what if I said, no, there's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, because objects are often composed of smaller objects, like this axe. It's an object, but if we took it apart, so is this axe handle and this axe head. They're objects. So like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So are there 3 objects or 7? It seems there's no objective right answer here. You are right relative to your concept of objects, and I am right relative to my concept of objects. We're just thinking of objects differently. So whether the correct answer is 3 or 7 just depends on us. Arguments like this have convinced many people that reality is socially constructed, or that there's no absolute objective truth about reality. Everything is relative or subjective or something like that. I think this is all a big mistake. Objective truth stands undefeated in the face of such arguments, and here, I'm going to try to show you why. We'll come back to it, but for now, set aside the mini-world argument. It will help to start afresh and begin with some basics. All beliefs are either true or false. Okay, there are a few technical complications with this basic claim, so I'm going to steal an idea from the Big Joel YouTube channel and place footnotes in the video description in case you want the nitty-gritty details. But even if you skip the footnote, it's fair to say all beliefs are either true or false. A belief is true when it says reality is a certain way, and reality is in fact that way. A belief is false when it says reality is a certain way, and reality is not in fact that way. It's our job as truth seekers to make sure our belief is tethered to reality. When belief loses connection to reality, that's falsehood. And when you hold on tight to that belief anyway, that's delusion. The general picture here is like map and landscape. It's the job of the map to get the landscape right. If our beliefs don't match reality, then they need to be updated, just like a map needs updating when it no longer correctly represents the landscape. So we have 2 things in play here, belief and reality. But to be a clear thinker on these matters, you've got to keep in mind how different they are. Beliefs depend on us. If there were no conscious creatures, there would be no beliefs. In other words, beliefs are ontologically subjective. Their existence depends on a conscious subject, like you and me. But most of reality does not depend on you and me. That is, it's ontologically objective. If all of us went extinct tomorrow, the vast majority of reality would just keep on being real. Mountains would stand, oceans roar, stars and galaxies continue their cosmic dance. For the most part, reality is the way it is, independently of you and me. And it just doesn't have much to do with what we think or what we feel. So here's the overall picture. There is a reality out there, independent of us. This ontologically objective reality is the way it is, whether we like it or not, whether we believe it or not. This reality makes our beliefs true when our beliefs accurately describe the way things are, and reality makes our beliefs false when things are not the way our beliefs say they are. All this is just what we mean by objective truth, and it all sounds so obvious and so straightforward, you might wonder how anyone could ever deny it. But people do deny it. Maybe you've heard that reality is just the stories we tell one another, or that truth is whatever fits your experience. This is a rejection of objective reality, and we've already seen one reason why people might be tempted to do that. The mini-world. How can we talk about beliefs matching objective reality when there doesn't seem to be a single reality for our beliefs to match? Like we said, there could be 3 objects here, or 7, and that just kind of depends on us, not on any objective fact about reality. And lots of people think that actual reality, that is, the world we live in, is just like the mini-world. There's no objective truth about it. All truth just depends on us and how we view things. Here's a real-life example taken straight from a discussion in my philosophy class. To demonstrate objective truth, I said, Everest is the tallest mountain on Earth. A student spoke up and said, well, actually no. Mount Chimborazo in Ecuador is the tallest mountain on Earth. And to her credit, she referred me to this article from Science Alert. I was astonished. I mean, this was big news. Had I been wrong about Everest all these years? But as it turns out, the article just pulled the old switcheroo. Switcheroo! Switcheroo! Instead of using the standard measurement from sea level, where Everest clearly wins, they measured from the center of the Earth. And because the Earth bulges out at the equator, this is due to the Earth's rotation, and since Chimborazo is near the equator and sits atop this bulge, it's actually farther from the center of the Earth to the top of Chimborazo than it is to the top of Everest. This is exactly like our mini-world. If you think about the concept of mountain or tall in one way, you get one answer. But if you think about them in a different way, you get a different answer. What did the student conclude from all this? There is no objective truth about the tallest mountain in the world. It all depends on how we think about things. Reality depends on us. Now that's the argument, but I think it fails. Here's why. Yes, language depends on people. How tall is a mountain? Well, by tall we might mean from sea level to summit, or we might mean from the center of the Earth to the summit. But the word tall gets its meaning from a community of speakers. If people had never existed, the word tall would never have existed and wouldn't mean anything at all. This much is obvious. Same goes for mountain. Imagine a culture where the concept of mountain excludes any formations created by volcanic activity. No, that's not so weird. It's just a culture that draws a hard line between the concept of volcano and the concept of mountain. So in that culture, Rainier, Shasta, and Chimborazo are not mountains, but Everest is, because it was formed by tectonic plates. So here we have another example of how the concepts we use depend on us. But here's the thing. It's a nothing burger. There's just nothing in any of what we've said so far that's even remotely a threat to objective truth. Look, we use language to describe reality, and we have concepts about reality. And yes, language and concepts depend on us. They're subjective or socially constructed, or however you want to put it. But that in no way shows that actual reality is subjective or socially constructed or anything like that. Think about our mini-world again. It was just a big confusion to say there's no objective reality here. There is! It's just that objective reality can be carved up in different ways, with different concepts. When you say object, you might mean a simple unit, so that this or this doesn't count as an object. Fine. But if that's what you mean, then the question, how many objects are there, has an absolute objective answer. 1, 2, 3. Of course, my concept of object might be more broad, so that this and this do count as objects. That's fine too. But it means that we now have a slightly different question. And there is nothing surprising about different questions having different answers, each objectively true. Look at it this way. I weigh 155 pounds. That's objectively true. But someone might argue, no, the only reason you say 155 is because you're American and thinking in terms of pounds. But if you were from a different culture, you'd say you weigh 70 kilos. So obviously weight is not objective. It's a social construct or relative to your culture or something like that. But I hope you're starting to see the problem. The force with which our planet is pulling me toward its center has nothing to do with language or society or anything having to do with us. Gravity is just doing its thing, and it doesn't care what we call it or how we measure it. Do you want to know my weight in pounds or kilos? Either way is fine. But either way, I can give you an absolute, objectively true answer. Now you can probably see how to cut through the confusion about the tallest mountain on Earth. Which is taller? Well, the answer is that we just need to be clear about what exactly we're asking. If we mean from sea level to summit, then Everest is objectively absolutely the tallest mountain on Earth. But if we mean from the center of the Earth to the summit, well, then Chimborazo is objectively absolutely the tallest mountain on Earth. And that's all there is really to it. My conclusion? The reasoning of the mini-world argument fails. we've just seen no good reason to reject the existence of objective truth. One last thing. You might say this is all fine and good for mountains and orange dots on a blue screen, but what about things like race or gender? Are these part of objective reality? Well, I turn the question back on you. In what way is race or gender different from the examples we talked about here? In what way is the reasoning about the nature of race and gender different from the kind of reasoning we criticized here? I guess you could say that our mini-world left us with some big questions.